What's happening, everybody? It's your favorite Bitter Legend here. I'm coming to bring y'all episode 5. This is the aftermath. I guess you can call this the sequel of how Brittany got diabetes. Again, thankful for everybody that is tuned in on my diabetic journey for the first 4 episodes. But I felt like I needed to give y'all like the sequel of what happened after I found out I was diabetic. I actually just got out of the woods probably about 30 minutes ago. No luck. So what a way to celebrate 7 years of diabetic bliss and matrimony, right? So without further ado, let's get straight into it. All right, so obviously yesterday, January 31st, 2018, I was rushed to the ER for high blood sugar. Again, my sugar was like 400. So we got there. I was severely hydrated. I went into what we call DKA, diabetic ketoacidosis. Luckily, we were there. We made it in time before the ketones in my bloodstream got really, really bad. So they put me in ICU. Now, I think I said a week, which, I mean, technically, yeah, I was in the hospital for about close to a week. I would say I was in ICU for about 4 days, and then they put me in a regular room. So doctor comes in, tells me, all right, you got type 1 diabetes. I have a few endocrinologists that you can look up and see which one, and recommendations and everything of who I need to go see. Well, he recommended one person, Dr. Taylor at St. Dominic's. So if you're a diabetic and you live in Mississippi and you are looking for an endocrinologist, that's your guy, okay? But we'll get to him in a minute. So he first hooked me up with the dietitian. So went and saw him. Me and my mom went to go see him. He kind of helped me as far as portion control, calorie counting, carb counting, all that good stuff. So then we ended up getting an appointment with Dr. Taylor. So we go in, draw my blood just to read my A1C, take my weight, all that good stuff. So we get into his office, and it's me, my mom, and my godmother, because obviously they wanted to be more informed because they never had to deal with it, so they really wasn't sure what we need to look out for and things like that. So we get in, he's talking to me, and he tells me that I have what they call LADA, and that's LADA. It stands for latent autoimmune diabetes in adults. So basically, it's more like type 1.5, but they treat it as type 1. Okay? So he tells me that. Then he tells me my A1C was 12%, like I mentioned in yesterday's episode. Started asking questions about, what would it take to get on the insulin pump, all that good stuff. And Dr. Taylor tells us, well, we need to get his A1C down to at least 7% in order to be put on the insulin pump. So right there in my mind, I was like, all right, well, I got to do what I got to do to get put on the insulin pump. He kind of went over everything with me as far as carb counting. He gave me a little booklet to record my sugars. And I had to check my sugar like 6 times a day, right? So, 1 in the morning before breakfast, an hour after breakfast, and basically 15 minutes before I ate a meal, and then an hour after I ate a meal. 6 times a day. And like I mentioned in the last episode, my doctor gave me some metformin. Well, I told him about the metformin that I was taking, and he was like, why did they give you that? You shouldn't be on that right now. Which the metformin actually was making my sugar drop. So whenever my sugar dropped, when you feel kind of out of it, you can feel weak, lightheaded, things like that. So it was making me do that a lot because the doctor prescribed me from the clinic. He prescribed me 1,000 milligrams. I was only supposed to take it, once a day, basically at night, really. So once a day, right before I go to bed, because that was going to help my sugar level stay low. But the other doctor at the actual hospital, he prescribed the same thing with 500 milligrams, and he told me to take 1 in the morning and then 1 at night. So I did the 500 milligrams. I didn't even care for the 1,000. So he was like, why did they put you on that? You shouldn't be on that right now. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so he gives me the information that I need. He actually told me about this app called Calorie Counter, and if you're diabetic and you're listening to this video, I highly recommend that you have it if you don't have it, because it really helped me out. And basically what this app did was, whenever I ate fast food or whenever I cooked a meal, I can actually go into that app and basically count how many carbs each item that I'm eating has. So for example, if I were to have pizza, I know pizza is 25 carbs a slice. So if I have 3 slices of pizza, that's 75 carbs. If I ate anything at Chick-fil-A, like a grilled chicken sandwich, I believe the grilled chicken sandwich was about, I think 84. That's how good I got with it. Like the foods that I constantly ate, it just got instilled in my brain. All right, this is how much carbs each of these meals counts. So he put me up on that, and like I said, once I left the hospital, I was like, all right, I got to do whatever I got to do to get on that insulin pump, which is exactly what happened. Like, I cut a lot of stuff out. If I went fast food, it was grilled chicken or salads. If I cooked, it was grilled, baked, whatever the case may be. I did brown rice. I couldn't do white rice, so I did brown rice. If I did any kind of like vegetable, like starches, corn, something like that, it had to be a small portion. And like I said, I had to record how many carbs I ate that day, how was my sugar that day, all that good stuff. And I honestly just jumped the gun because I need to backtrack. Okay, so after I left the hospital, I stayed with my parents for about 2 weeks or so, just until we got everything under control, right? So I stayed with them for 2 weeks. I took 2 days off of work, and then I went into work, and my mom was like, you know, if you start feeling bad, just come on home. All right, cool. So I stayed the majority of the day. I was feeling good. I had a couple of loads, which, you know, kind of made me a little bit excited because I was able to eat some kind of sweet stuff, like Pop-Tarts and stuff. So, but I was still doing good. Now we're gonna fast forward. All right, so carb counting, all that good stuff. Everything's going according to plan. I go back 3 months. They check my A1C. My A1C is 7%, like I think it was like 7.5. So Dr. Taylor's like, perfect. We'll get you set up on the insulin pump. Gonna get you in touch with a diabetic educator. So big shout out to Miss Cher on this one, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be where I am today. So get in touch with her. She sets up an appointment for us to kind of go over the insulin pump, go over the CGM, the continuous glucose monitor, CGM Dexcom. So we meet. It's me, my parents, and my godmother. We all meet with her. She kind of instructs me on how to do everything. And from there, smooth sailing, cakewalk. So then I decide, all right, I'm well enough to go back home, all that good stuff. So I'm still doing what I'm supposed to do, carb counting, checking my sugar, insulin, all that good stuff. 3 months later, another doctor's appointment. Come in, take my blood sugar. He walks in, I'm by myself this time. Walks in, and he's like, great news. You just dropped your A1C to 4.9. I've never seen anybody do that before. That means you technically don't even have diabetes at this point. And like, I was so excited and everything. And he's like, you literally are the only person in this office, in this clinic, that has ever done anything like this. You know, he asked me how I did it. I told him, it was like, you know, I stayed disciplined to myself. I carb counted. I didn't eat a lot of junk food. I didn't eat a lot of fried food, anything like that. I drank water, you know, Diet Cokes, straight black coffee, unsweet tea. I know that's very un-Southern like. So, you know, he's like, I gotta let Cher know. So he tells Cher texts me, and she's like very excited, tears, all that good stuff. And she was like, I want you to become a mentor for this young boy that I have. He lives in Louisiana. He lives in Louisiana, and he's 16. He's a little nervous about being put on the pump because he doesn't want people to make fun of him because he has this on his arm stuff. I was like, okay, cool. So we set up a day. I go meet him. It's him and his mom. Kid's name is Jalen. So big shout out to Jalen. He and I, we're close. We're very close. We still keep in touch to this day. So I meet up with him. I kind of tell him my story of how I'm managing it and all that good stuff. And he and his mom, like we all got pretty tight. He and I, we ended up playing a game that day, like a video game. He beat me, and he was pretty excited about it. He couldn't stop talking about it. It was just a fun bonding time for us. Like I said, he and I exchanged numbers. We kept in touch. He wanted to hang out again, so there was one time where I was off work. I drove over to Louisiana because we weren't that far from each other, and we hung out again. We went bowling, went out to eat, all that good stuff. Just had a good old time. And ever since then, he has been killing it. He's been crushing it. He's grown now, been managing his diabetes very well, so I'm very proud of him. All right, so now we fast forward to today. My A1C right now is right around the 6%, and that comes from at one point in my life I changed jobs, and I had to meet my deductibles and everything. So my insulin was like $200 something. My Dexcom and my transmitter, well, my Dexcom wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. But my transmitter was like $210. And like, it was very hard for me to, I ain't gonna say get it, but it was very difficult. It was putting a lot of strain on me. So, I still had some of the pens that my doctor gave me, and I kind of told Dr. Taylor, hey, this is what's going on, so it's not like I'm not taking my stuff. It's just a lot, especially when you're trying to get everything at once, instead of like, all right, get my insulin here, get my Dexcom here, get my transmitter here. You know what I'm saying? So that was pretty taxing. So that's where Big Pharma comes in, man. Like, I don't want to get too much into that because it can really, like, I know there's a lot of diabetics out there that's like, we need free insulin. Give us free insulin, and I truly, wholeheartedly agree with that, because most of us are not living, we're not able to function correctly because we're having to ration our insulin, so where we think we're giving ourselves less insulin to save on all our insulin, if that makes sense. So Big Pharma, if you're hearing this, gotta do something. Now I know it's the government, but still. But that's besides the point. But I say all of that to say this. I tell y'all my story to tell y'all this. Like, if you are type 1 diabetic or type 2, because I know some type 2, y'all do struggle with it as well. Man, don't give up. Like, there's so much you can do. There's so much you can live for. Just never give up on yourself. Health is wealth, I like to say. For me, being 7 years in and knowing people that have had it for 20 plus years, I understand what y'all are going through. I do. But there's always a great thing about it. You got a support system. You got family. You got close friends that are going to support you in your journey. And I feel like doing it that way, with having that support system, should motivate you, should encourage you to keep pushing. I've been doing it ever since I found out I was diabetic. I've been doing a lot to bring awareness, to educate people that don't even have diabetes, but they may know someone that has it. And, I do a lot of charity. I do a lot of charity work with Breakthrough T1D, who is formerly known as the JDRF. I've been doing charities with them since 2020, since I started my content creation journey. I've been doing a lot of charities with them, with my local chapter, with the walks, with the diabetes walks, and all that good stuff. I like to tell people that me and diabetes have been roommates for now 7 years, and it is time for diabetes to sign the eviction notice. You know what I'm saying? You know, make it fun. Having diabetes is not a curse. Is it something that you would never expect? Of course it is. But have fun with it. Why not? You know, I have fun with mine all the time, and just see the bright side of it. You know, you're still alive. Even though you have to take insulin to survive, you're still alive. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still here. God is not done with you yet. And I will say that for anybody and everybody that is sick, that is going through something. God is not done with you. So keep the faith. Keep pushing forward. We got this. We all we got. We are all we need. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. I know this was a little bit longer, but hey, this was one of those things where I felt like y'all needed to know what went on afterwards and to keep y'all encouraged. So again, y'all have a great weekend. Be safe out there. This is Bearded signing off.